We've owned this for just a little over a year, actually about 15 months. We put about 18,000 miles on it in that time. So we're going to talk about the good, the bad, and pretty much everything in between. So let's get started on it. Let's start off by talking about gas mileage. We live in the Midwest, so we see a variety of weather conditions. You know, it's 100 degrees in the summer, it's sometimes below zero in the winter, lots of snow, rain, wind, we get all of it here. So it's a good test for the mile per gallon in this area. So what we have noticed is in the winter, when it's cold, we only average about 28 miles per gallon. Now, the EPA has us rated at 37. Now, that is in prime conditions because in the summer, generally spring through fall, we can pull that 36 to 38 mile per gallon average. So it's really not that bad. Most of the time, it's pretty good. Over the course of a year, we do average right around 33 to 34 overall. And with gas prices at about $3.09 is what I am estimating right now. That's what our gas station says. We would spend about $1,300 a year on gas for this. And that's not bad over the course of about 18,000 miles. So let's talk about how it is to drive. Now, when you're driving and you are in electric and it switches over to the gas engine, you hardly feel it. It is super smooth. But switching from gas to electric is a whole nother story. There is a noticeable vibration coming from underneath the car, kind of like the transmission just doesn't want to give up its job. It's like, I want to keep turning the wheels. I want to keep turning the wheels. And finally it gives in, and then you feel it just like cut off, and then everything is super smooth. So it's not a major problem, but it is there, and it is somewhat noticeable if you're paying attention. As for your power and acceleration in this, the power is pretty good. It's 226 horsepower, and the acceleration is somewhere around like 7.8 seconds, which is better than the standard Tucson at 9.3. So you want a little more giddy up and you want to save gas, you go on up to this hybrid because it is perfect. We love it. We don't have problems passing people. We don't have problems accelerating and getting away from people. It just works out perfect for the size of a vehicle. It works really well. The ride overall is pretty smooth. Like I said, it does feel like it's a little ready for the off-road, so it can be a little stiff and a little bumpy on certain roads. But other than that, it does really well. And when we used it in the snow, it was awesome. We just put it in snow mode, we hit the locking all-wheel drive, and we just took off driving, pretty much drove through everything, anywhere we wanted to. The cabin is really quiet also. We were really surprised that we can have the stereo at a really low volume and not hear anything on the outside. Even when it's off, you can easily talk to each other without any issues or problems. Sometimes we even have the stereo on low and we can still talk to each other without problems. So there's no excessive outside noise. You do hear the engine when you're accelerating, but that's it. It's pretty quiet in here. This does have regenerative braking, but it doesn't have anything like a one pedal or any adjustment to the regenerative braking. It actually just feels like your brakes. I couldn't even tell any different. Letting off the gas, it doesn't like start slowing you down really quick. It just feels normal. And when you press on the brakes, there doesn't feel like it's doing something else and then your brakes grab. It just feels like you're using your brakes just like normal. So it feels just like a normal, regular vehicle. And for practicality, the cargo space is great. I mean, look back here. We have got our luggage in here, and we've also got a full-size walker in here that we sometimes have to carry, and plenty of room. You can see that this is a big walker that actually turns into a wheelchair. So we got this in there and 3 suitcases, plenty of space in here. And if you put that second row down, which is pretty simple to do because you just have these little handles back here, which is really nice. You make it so much easier. And they just drop down. There is enough room for you to sleep back here if you need to. And the rear seats are very comfortable with plenty of leg room and headroom for adults. So there you can see how much cargo space and extra space there is in the inside, which is why we like it so much. It's smaller on the outside, but it gives you a lot of room on the inside. The small size on the outside makes it really easy for my wife to park in the parking lot. So that's a good thing for us. The last thing is we don't really tow, but this is rated to tow at around 2,000 pounds. So it's not much, but you can probably pull a few little trailers behind you. Now let's talk about reliability. Now, we haven't had any issues with ours, and Hyundai has provided the first 3 years or 36,000 miles, whichever comes first, of free maintenance, oil changes, tire rotations, and multi-point inspections. So that is completely taken care of to make sure your car is running well. Now, there was a recall for the BMS, the battery management system, but that was easily fixed. Taking it to the dealer, they put in an update and never had a problem. We didn't even experience the issue that some were having. So we were also lucky with that aspect of it. We also noticed that tire wear, we are still at about 50% of our tire wear, and we have a total of 33,000 miles on this. So we can easily probably get another 10 to 15,000 miles out of this before we really need to replace the tires. The last thing is that we bought this off of a lease return. So it had 14,000 miles on it when we bought it, and they kept telling us it wasn't going to happen, but Hyundai has still covered those 3 years of maintenance for us, our oil changes and everything. So just because the dealership says that Hyundai isn't going to do something doesn't mean they won't do it anyway. So that was a huge plus for us. All right, let's talk about some of the technology in here. This infotainment screen is really good. Now the one on the limited trim is a little bit better. You get a little bit bigger screen and more of it, touch stuff is inside. We have separate buttons around the outsides of it. So most of your functions are done either inside the driver's display or you have physical buttons to control everything. So we like physical buttons. It just makes things a lot easier to maneuver and switch the things that we want to switch. Driver assistance features in here are good. This doesn't have the highway driver assist by Hyundai and Kia, but when you turn on the lane centering on this, a lot of times you can turn that on and it will just take off driving on its own, and sometimes you can drive for miles without it ever telling you to put your hands on the wheel. And bonus, no eye tracker, because we do not like eye trackers and we don't like things yelling at us constantly to do stuff that we're already doing. The adaptive cruise does a good job with the spacing and pacing. Like I said, lane centering, sitting here talking to you, still hasn't told me to put my hands on the wheel. It's still just doing it on its own. Love you guys, Hyundai, because of that. Connecting your phone through Bluetooth, it works really well. Every time we get in the car, whatever phone is in here, it will automatically connect to it. It does have a priority system. So if the priority top level phone is in the vehicle, it will attach to it first. Otherwise, then it will get the secondary phone. So that is a nice feature to have, because that way my wife is the primary because she drives this vehicle more than I do. So it just makes it easier for her when she gets in and out. It just links up right away. The seats are comfortable. This trim does have the heated seats, and it says odor and stain resisting fabric, which we do like the fabric. It does heat up really well and gets really warm. As for being stain resistant, I'm not so sure about that because I got a couple spots that I can't get out. So don't plan on it being stain resistant, but odor resistant, I guess so. It doesn't smell weird in here that I can tell. The climate control in here, it does a good job regulating the cabin for the most part. Although you have 3 levels of auto, it does seem to prioritize the feet more than the rest of your body or your cabin. So that I really don't like because my feet get hot already. So I don't really care for that. And if you do switch it to something else, it automatically shuts the auto off. And if you turn the auto back on, then it goes right back to the feet. So you know, I'm not a big fan of, but it does keep the cabin nice and comfortable. And as we mentioned earlier, the stereo system, it works great for us. We don't blast the stereo anymore. We just kind of got over that part of it. So, you know, it works well enough for us. Likes and dislikes. So, our likes, things that we really love about this vehicle. One is the lane centering. It's great, hardly ever tells you to put your hands on the wheel. You can really just sit back and relax, rest your hand on it like you're supposed to, but if you need to do something, it will keep you lane centered, and it sometimes will drive for miles on end without telling you to put your hands on the wheel. Not sure what that is, but we love it. And the next thing is the aggressive styling of this vehicle. We just love the way that this looks. It looks like it's ready to go off-road. It also looks sporty. It just is a great design. And I know that they gave it just a little bit of a refresh this past year, but when you look at them, you have to have them side by side to even notice any of the changes. It's such a good design that they hardly even touched it. The next thing is the app. The app is actually awesome. It shows you your gas tank percentage, how many miles you have left. So if you need to get gas before you leave, you already know. You can turn on your remote start, get it all warmed up in the winter, cool it off in the summer. You can also lock it from there. You can sound the horn. You get to see all of your systems. It will also tell you if there are any recalls on your vehicle. It'll tell you if there are any lights and warnings on the dash and what they are. It just is filled up with a lot of stuff. It's an excellent, excellent app. We really do love it. And of course, the gas mileage. We are really happy with the gas mileage that we're getting. We understand in the winter that you're going to lose some, especially with this being a hybrid and it having a battery system. When it gets cold, it's not going to function as often as it normally does in the heat. So we accept that with that 28 miles per gallon in the winter, but we really do enjoy when we get that 36 to 38 in the summer. It is great. And the other thing is this is all season ready. Summertime, no problem. Rain, no problem. We just had about 8 to 10 inches of snow this past winter, and we put this thing in snow mode, hit the locking all-wheel drive, and we took off and had no problems driving anywhere in that snow. Just excellent. Our dislikes of this vehicle are not really about what it has that we don't like as much as it is things that are not there that we wish there were. One of those things is the proximity unlocking. This doesn't have it. You have to walk up, stick your hand inside the handle, then it unlocks, and then you can pull the handle and open the door. And then you have to touch the button on the outside handle to lock it. Now, it's not a huge problem as you just saw. It's actually pretty easy to do, but it would be kind of nice to be able to walk up and the door just unlock and everybody can grab a handle and just open the doors and get in all at the same time. That would be nice to have. The other thing is you have manual seats on the passenger side. You got 8-way powered on the driver, nothing on the passenger. I mean, you should at least have something on the passenger side, but no, it's completely manual over there, so that we really don't like. I also don't like the vibration that happens underneath the floorboard whenever it's switching from gas to electric. Now it doesn't do it when you're in electric and it switches the gas engine back on the highway. You don't even notice it turn on. But whenever that electric part is getting ready to take over, there is a noticeable vibration down there that kind of makes it like the transmission just doesn't quite want to give up its job. And one last thing is the steering wheel. It doesn't have a heated steering wheel. I mean, come on. We're second from the top. We should have a heated steering wheel on that thing. So, would we buy this again? Absolutely, we would buy this again. We love this thing. It's awesome. It's worked out great for us. No problems or issues whatsoever. Now, the only difference is that we might look into maybe the limited trim so we can get some more of those amenities, like a powered passenger seat, maybe some ventilated seats, and that heated steering wheel. And we might even look into the plug-in hybrid, get a little bit better gas mileage, drive around on electric a little bit more. Be pretty nice. Some specific questions that we have gotten were, how does it handle on long trips? Well, it does great because it gets good gas mileage. It's set up to handle any driving conditions, highway conditions, terrain conditions, whatever it needs to do, this thing can handle it and handle it fairly well. Now, we also get asked, did you guys add anything to it? Did you add any accessories? Well, of course, since we talked about no heated steering wheel, we added a steering wheel cover on there to take the chill off of it in the winter. We also added tint to the windows, and we also added floor liners in the bottom, which I can put some links down in the description if you guys are interested in looking at any of that. We get asked on occasion about the battery life and if it's holding up well. Well, considering this high voltage battery in this is very small compared to an electric vehicle, yeah, it's doing just fine. No issues or problems there, except for, we did have, like I said, that recall for the battery management system, but that wasn't a result of the battery itself. And sometimes we have been asked, if we've got any recommendations on fuel economy and how to maximize that. Really, the best thing you can do is just remember that the faster you drive, the lower your gas mileage will be, and also winter colder temperatures will affect your miles per gallon also, because it won't allow that hybrid system to engage as often, and same thing for the higher speeds. It won't engage at higher speeds as often as it does at a moderate or regulated speed. I hope this helped you out if you're considering buying a 2022 Hyundai Tucson Hybrid, maybe picking one up off the used market. I think it's a great vehicle. You can see we haven't had any major problems with it, and it's just been a great car for us. So I hope you like this. If you did, hit that like button, and then click on one of the videos that's up on the screen. That is going to be the next best video for you to watch. I appreciate you guys being here, and you guys have a blessed day.